Agios Nikolaos. We're headed to Spinalonga Island, the last stronghold of the Venetians, taken by the Ottomans only in 1715. So the last island off of Crete that the Venetians were able to hold until the last of the Ottoman-Venetian wars. Interesting place. We're just driving around in the car today and sort of happened upon it. So we figured we'd get on a little ferry boat and head over to Spinalonga. So stay tuned. So we're just getting a little bit of a round the island tour from the boat. We'll be on the island momentarily, but just something nice to see as we go past it. Remnants of the Venetian fortifications and buildings that are likely newer, as in the 20th century it was a lepers hospital. Michael Roserej Kritia, and dated 1700s, early 1700s, so one of the last of the Venetian fortifications. It'll be fun walking around this one. Really interesting. And we're just able to bring you some of the outside walls of the fortress as the boat circumnavigates the island prior to tying up. Really interesting preservation, these fortress walls, some of them dating to the 1500s, and we saw an inscription from the early 1700s, so a mixture prior to the Ottoman conquest finally in 1715, where they no doubt took over the island. We're coming around to the pier momentarily. So now from within the fortress, which on a €15 combined ticket also includes the Archaeological Museum in Agios Nikolaos and Lato and one other that I didn't read the whole thing real quick because it was a line. But for a 16th century preserved Venetian fortress that really hasn't had a lot of restoration work and was a lepers hospital and left in disrepair, it's actually in really quite good condition. So we're going to make the rounds. This gate dates to 1583. An Ottoman market from the 18th and 19th century. And here we have quite a good map. So the red areas show Venetian occupation, the pink areas Ottoman, the yellow the Leper Colony. So the two large buildings we saw coming in were probably these two at 45. And the oldest structures in red with the Ottoman buildings again in pink. And we're here in this complex here of mostly Ottoman, though we came through that little Venetian portion there with the rooms. very interesting. This again, mostly the settlement. We're right in the middle of a portion of the settlement from the Ottoman period. And here they are being restored. So quite a lot done. So it looks like after we do the circuit down below, we have to go up and get a better view. We have a Venetian church of St. Panteleimon, which is said also in Greek, probably restored 1953. There was a story that I was reading this morning about last priest not leaving until a period of time after the last of the lepers in the leper colony had passed away, as per Orthodox tradition. And it looks like now we're coming into more contemporary buildings. Now, again in the Ottoman period, so the second portion of the Ottoman settlement here, I think we're right in this area. A lot of this not restored, at least since they were probably used as part of the leper colony. Yep. And we're at the end of the area in pink, which is Ottoman, going into an area with two more buildings from the Venetian period, which appear to be the garrison building, which was later the leper colony disinfection building, and then some Venetian cisterns, number 34. Concrete structures, obviously, from the 20th century. So we're going to continue up to the top, and we'll see you up there. Just a slight correction to when we came by this on the outside. This is Mezzaluna Michiel, or half moon. And it is one of the most beautiful bastions constructed by the Venetians anywhere in their empire, according to Luca Michiel in his report. report to the Venetian Senate. So Mezzaluna Michele, and we'll look down from the top to the inside. One of the beauties of coming here on a little boat that happened to go around it is that you got to see some of the but really quite well preserved and evidently somewhat restored. Venetian bastion, almost 450 years old. Original stairs going down to the roof. A few days ago on Montebasia, we saw some double vaulted churches that were in disrepair and were probably built by the Venetians. So I think this is interesting, as this may have been built by or rebuilt from a Venetian chapel. This says Church of St. George, 1661, so that would seem to fit. So this is what perhaps one of, like the St. Anna, Agia Anna in Montebasia would have looked like. This would be the sort of the blown apart portion, and then the area where the altar is here, I guess. The part that wasn't completely destroyed of that church, and of some of the little anonymous churches on Montebasia. So just interesting to see. A lot of times in the Greek islands you see different style churches, but I think this one probably again built by the Venetians and is now a Byzantine or Orthodox chapel. And there's something going on in there. Well, we've made just about a total circumference of the lower portion of this island, and I think it's time to get up to some of those upper fortifications. We're going to come up on a map here momentarily, but we're getting close to where we tied up in the first place. We're going to see if we can find out how to go up from here. And indeed, we've made just about a full, all we have to do is come down to there. So now, having done the re-entrance to the area of the Turkish, the Ottoman market, we're starting to find a way going up to the top. And here, partially restored buildings, some of which more recent than others, but generally a derelict area on a hillside going up to the top of the fortress. I would say that most of these structures are stabilized, but definitely not restored, as there's not a lot of practical use for them other than as a museum display. So as usual, we find the stairs and we go up, but not in there. Now we're quite a ways above where we were and the upper buildings, but there's still quite a ways to go as we make our way to the top of these stairs. And again, this stairway is on the southern side, or rather the western side of the island. The southern side is where we come on. So it looks like we're about halfway to the top. Another double vaulted church by the look of it as we go up. No, just a Venetian tripartite building. Similar in construction to some of the little churches. demi-lune bastion, then the Church of St. Nicholas with the Venetian gunpowder magazine, and of course the market below. If you look to the sea, just down from the market buildings, which are there, I think you can make out what's left of older dock systems there and a dredged port, although not probably functional at this point, certainly with no dock any longer. But it's interesting how long things like that remain. We're almost to the top, just foundations of most likely houses from the Ottoman period and maybe even the Venetian period dot the hillside above the market. And of course in the farther distance we saw the 20th century buildings that were derelict from the time of the hospital and the Leper Colony. There's a bit of a crowd that way, so we'll go up to this. Great views off the eastern side of the island, and you can make out the fortifications where we walked through and the boarding was in and out. The little double vaulted chapel down below from the 17th century, and we're standing in the wind again. Let's see what else we can see from up here. Can't go over there, unfortunately. But really amazingly well preserved, as it had some use over time. But a significant use, again, this was the last island held by the Venetians against the Ottomans. It only fell to the Ottomans in the final battle in 1715. And here are the remains of a little single vaulted church, probably St. Nicholas. As I can't find any other structure, that would be it. Really breathtaking views up here on Spinalonga. Just as you come into the lower part of the fortress, there are stairs to the top that are a lot easier to pass than along the top of the spine where we were earlier. And I figured I'd try to save the best for last. So up we go, through buildings with great preservation, probably that were used in the 20th century. So you can see concrete rather than just rock. And again, little passageways. We are outside that bastion wall there, but we're inside this one that in the Venetian period would have had coastal defenses. And the demi-lune this way, a lot more passable. I'm going to go up through there. And now, from within the demi-lune, the remnants of most of the original gate, we're standing on top of the other one. And then along these ramparts, wide enough for arrows and rifles. No cannons from up here. But really amazing and beautifully well preserved piece of history from Venetian times. And of course, great views out and down. Well, I would recommend that you came to Spinalonga. It's really quite a neat experience. So we're a little ways from Spinalonga. We're in Sitia, which is quite a ways from Agios Nikolos. Unfortunately, the other archaeological sites I wanted to see today were not open, or they closed right after we got done with lunch, a little bit early in the day. So we had the car, we got the car for the rest of the day, and got friends, and we drove over just about as far east as the main roads go on Crete, and we're going to have a beer over here at one of these really nice little tavernas right here in the Limani in Sitia. So when we were here in Santorini last, I forgot to make it to Pharos. I've been here before, and sometimes you miss a turn and get distracted doing other things. As it was, we made 2 Santorini videos before, but Pharos is interesting. It is at the very bottom of the crescent. It is almost the southernmost point, certainly the southwesterly point, and a great vista from which to see a lot of different things here on Santorini. On a clear day, which this is not, on certain points, such as the monastery at the top of the mountain, the monastery of the Prophet Elias, you can see so much. But in the far distance here, you can see Ia, and just past it, or just closer to us on the next part of the caldera, you can see Meravigli and Pira. So thanks again for watching Travel with Chip. Please subscribe, share, appreciate all your support, and we'll see you again. We're going to be in Santorini tomorrow. We've done 2 videos in Santorini before, but who knows, may come up with something new. Until then,